I want to share a small portion of my recent conversation with Joel Embiid. We'll air this chat in full when the Sixers season tips off right here on ESPN, October 23rd against the Celtics. But I wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek. In this exchange, we discuss Embiid's feelings on the roster changes that they had this offseason and his vision for how the Sixers offense should flow now with the team's new personnel. Take a listen. So it felt like the entire NBA changed this offseason. There isn't some big clear favorite for the title this year for the first time in a long time. But do you think you guys should be the favorite?
I think we should be up there. Obviously, we still got to prove ourselves. We lost a big piece in Jimmy. He did a lot of great things for us. But we should be up there. I mean, on paper, we got a really good team. So now it's on us to go out there and actually prove it.
You got Josh Richardson. You did lose Jimmy Butler. You lost J.J. Redick. Jimmy Butler in particular, it seemed like you guys got pretty close by the end of the playoffs. What kind of loss is it for you personally, just not to have him around with you?
It was a big loss because me and him, we got to the point where we were really close. We're still close. We talk a lot, and that's my guy. That's my brother forever. I wish he was on the team because I feel like the relationship that I built with him could have gone a long way. Jimmy, when it was the fourth quarter, we knew the ball was going to be in either me or Jimmy's hand, and I knew that I could count on him too. This year, it kind of changes around. Now, other guys got to step up, and I got to do more.
Jimmy did take a lot of those clutch, game-winning type shots. Do you think you're the one who can do that this year?
Yes, I've been working on it all summer, so we're going to see how it goes.
How do you work on it? Do you have people screaming in your ear, the time running down, or anything like that? How do you create that pressure situation?
Last year I struggled. Well, I didn't really struggle, but most of my turnovers came from guys double teaming or me driving and them swiping at the ball, and so this summer we basically worked a lot on situations with the shot clock running down, and guys coming at me, and I got to find a way to get a shot off. Obviously, the game is way different than actually practice, so hopefully all my hard work is going to pay off.
Thank you to Joel for always being so forthcoming. Wait till you see the rest of our conversation. There's a lot there, but I do want to get on this stuff because this was the most immediate thing to me, Scottie, because he's talking about the changes that just happened. They're going into training camp with new people. And here are the crunch time shooting numbers for the Sixers' three main offensive threats that are on this year's roster. So who do you think Philadelphia should be running this offense through when the game is on the line? Because Jimmy Butler's name is not on this list anymore.
Well, I mean, to me, the obvious name is Ben Simmons. I like his growth, I like his development, and I like the style of player that he is. Reminds me a lot of myself, a lot of Jason Kidd, but more so as to what Giannis has been able to do with the Milwaukee Bucks. A guy that's not intimidated, knowing that he's a poor foul shooter, but he just continues to keep the pressure on your defense night in and night out. And you're going to run out of fouls against these kind of guys because if they don't give in, their foul shooting will get better because they will build that confidence over time. Yeah. And I think that's what he have to do. And I like Embiid, and I like what he says as a player. I think he's a heck of a player and a very dominant player, but you can't allow Ben Simmons not to exist on the offensive end.
Yeah. I also thought it was super interesting in there that he said, I wish Jimmy was still on the team. Because remember, when Jimmy Butler was first traded there, it was not great between the two of them. There were a lot of questions. Joel made that comment about, gee, I don't like the spacing on the floor and all of that. And there were some reports of infighting between the two of them. And we saw by the time the playoffs rolled around, clearly that had all been squashed because they were in each other's ears all the time. They're laughing on the bench. They were encouraging each other. Those kinds of relationships, Scottie, where you can tell the guys really earned it with each other, right?
Yeah,
is it hard when they break up again?
They did, and we were able to see that bond come together. We saw it come there, and Jimmy Butler got sort of a bad rap for it, but it all came together. They weren't successful throughout the playoff with it, but they all found out what their identity was on that basketball team.
Yeah, and some of that might stick with them even though he's gone, right?
And Rach, when he answered your question and he said, Jimmy's my guy. I wish he was here. I thought to myself, well, does Embiid not have the voice internally that so many of us thought? Because so many people figure Embiid is the guy. He is the face of this franchise. So if Embiid wanted Jimmy back that much and he went to ownership and said, I want him back, how bad were things behind the scenes that Jimmy isn't back in Philly?
Well, I'm going to give you, since I'm good at my job, I asked that question, and I'll give you, we're going to show this a little bit later.
That's a tease. I like it.
No, I'll tell you, because I don't want a misconception to be out there, because your point is a really good one. I said, did you go to management and ask for him to stay? And he said, look, in the exit interview, which is where he said I thought it belonged, I said, I really like playing with him. I'd be really happy if he was here next year. He said he did not go to ownership and say, I'm lying down on the railroad track. You must have Jimmy Butler back. Because he said respectfully, he's like, he thinks Elton Brand does a really good job, and he wants Elton to be able to do his job without feeling like Joel's trying to do his job for him. So to me, he handled it the right way, right? That he said, hey, I love playing with this guy. I'd be happy if he's back. But he did not go to ownership. He did not go over Elton's head. He did not lay down and say, you have to keep him. And so therefore, I don't think it should be looked at that ownership didn't listen to him or Elton Brand didn't listen to him, because he didn't quite make that kind of stand. I can kind of get why everybody involved did what they did.
They better hope Tobias Harris takes that step, though. When you invest that kind of money and you replace a player like Jimmy, you better hope that he can be the guy that his contract now says that he is.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.